there is reaction we have looked at in the chapter of carbonyl compound, and there were two reactions highlighted there. In fact, they were both the reaction only for aldehyde. So there is something called as reaction with Tollens reagent. Tollens reagent. So here is a reaction with Tollens reagent. These are actually the reaction of only aldehyde. You will wonder why we are only taking for aldehyde when there are ketones also in the sugar. You will see that. And again, that is where you will be able to appreciate so many structures. So one is this. And what happens in Tollens reagent reaction? Anybody remembers? Let me quickly show you. It is the reaction of only aldehyde. Of course, whether aliphatic or aromatic doesn't matter. Both aldehyde. Aliphatic or aromatic. Here we are not talking about anything as carbohydrate as aromatic. They are all aliphatic compound. But I am just telling you this was a general format. And then it was reacted with ammonical silver nitrate solution, which is Tollens reagent, right? It is prepared in the lab. So what happens in the reaction? You have other participation also, but let's say I am just simply writing the final product. You get silver mirror being formed. Remember, silver solid deposits on the surface of the test tube and you see a mirror formation. This is only actually the reducing reaction because silver's valency oxidation number is changing from +1 to 0. So it is a reduction happening here. This reaction is a reduction reaction, right? It's a reduction. So your aldehyde is capable of reducing silver ions to silver metal, right? And you will have definitely some product formation and all those things which you are not concerned. This is one reaction aldehyde group can give, whether it is aliphatic and aromatic. Another reaction which is also the test for aldehydes is reaction with Fehlings solution. Reaction with Fehlings solution. Basically, Fehlings solution is a mixture of two different solutions first, A and B. You don't have to worry at this point of time again now in this particular topic, but actually there are two reagents which are mixed freshly. Okay, they are kept separately, then they are mixed so that over a period of time they are not disintegrated. And this mixture also generates alkaline. Ultimately in the solution what is going to happen is alkaline, which is again basic condition just like here, alkaline solution with copper 2+ ion. Basically copper sulfate is one substance in this. So this is basically the mixture creates this one. Okay, it's a mixture of this. Then if you have an aldehyde, now this aldehyde should be only aliphatic. This is the limitation of this reaction. This can be either aliphatic or aromatic, but this has to be only aliphatic. I am teaching you only aldehyde test, okay? Aliphatic. So no aromatic compound will give this test. But both are test for aldehyde, keep it in mind. And what this does, this also basically creates cuprous oxide, Cu2O. This is cupric form, right? Cu2+. And here if you look at the valency, oxidation number of copper, because there is one oxygen attached to 2 copper is here copper +1. Okay, so that means here also it's a reduction reaction. Okay, now think about this. If aldehyde is the capable of giving these specific tests, which are very useful tests. Here you get the silver mirror. Observation is silver mirror. And here you get the red precipitate of cuprous oxide. This will be precipitated. This is from the soluble form. So these are very quick tests. I told you when we were discussing aldehyde to find out the presence of aldehyde. Okay, now look at your sugars. So in sugar, there are aldo sugars, right? There are sugar like glucose, which is aldo sugar. Fructose is not. Okay, but doesn't matter. Just hold on. So these two tests are used to identify the nature of sugar. These two tests are used to identify the nature of sugar, a given carbohydrate, as either reducing or non-reducing, right? We don't even have to worry, let's say right now, whether it is aldehyde or not. I will show you why, how your even fructose can give the two tests. You will see that. Okay, non-reducing. Right now sugar reacts with this, we will classify that as reducing sugar. And if some sugar doesn't react these or doesn't give these tests, we will classify it as non-reducing sugar. So this is another way of looking at all the carbohydrate or sugars as reducing and non-reducing sugar, because it is a very quick test and helps us to identify certain property of the given carbohydrate in the laboratory. Okay, you will unfortunately we are not having in syllabus the other sugars, higher sugars than fructose and glucose. So we will not be exploring this property for them, but it's fine, doesn't matter. But in general, I am telling you, all your sugars can be classified into reducing and non-reducing based on this property. It is understood glucose is a reducing sugar, right? We can very easily say that, no problem. If you consider this fact, these are the, so if you consider these things, we can say that glucose is a reducing sugar. Anyway, it is aliphatic, so it will give both the test, right? Our all the sugars are aliphatic, so we will get both the test. Now the problem for you may be, if I write here that fructose is also reducing sugar. How will you explain this? Because these tests are specific to only aldehyde group. And how will you explain this? It's a fact. Fructose gives this test. Okay. So our problem comes only when we imagine or visualize fructose as a static structure of made up of only one type of molecule, as we have discussed here. Oh, on this page itself. You see, in Fisher projection also, if you imagine that this is the only form, or in cyclic form, anyway, cyclic form doesn't have either aldehyde or ketonic group, right? Same goes for glucose also. So let's forget the cyclic form. They will anyway not be responsible for that test. It will be only this one, because they will draw the equilibrium in this forward direction. So open chain structure is the only possible way. And if in this open chain structure the functional group is ketone, how will this give that test? Well, as I said here, open chain form have few more forms. So let's highlight only on this part and not worry about the remaining part, because nothing much will change, but this part actually undergoes some kind of equilibrium and forms new different form. Let's say if I just pick up this part here, CH2OH, C double bond O, H, and then you have remaining carbon, right? So if I just talk about this part here, first and second carbon, remember, if you have carbonyl carbon and you have OH group on the next, okay, this actually undergoes some kind of isomerization here, where the double bond is transferred here and the hydrogen of this carbon is transferred to this oxygen. Okay, so there is a transfer of hydrogen transfer of one of the hydrogen on this oxygen, and this double bond is transferred. So this is interesting, and this guy becomes OH, this hydrogen as it is, this bond as it is, and this becomes double bond here, and this is CH OH, right? This is CH because one hydrogen is gone on this. Okay, this is one form that is formed. Okay, and it happens because this is possible. Okay, it doesn't stop here. Another possibility, basically this double bond can move to now to this bond and form a double bond between oxygen, and in return your hydrogen of this should reach to this carbon. So, and this will lead to OH. So this becomes like a sp3 carbon, this previously from sp2, and this carbon aldehyde group. Okay, what is this tautomerism? You remember enolization, which was possible. Here this is ene diol. It's a kind of ene diol. On neighboring carbon you have two hydroxyl group. If you had only hydroxyl group and ene, that used to get converted into either aldehyde or ketone. Remember that kind of isomerism where I use the term called tautomerism? So it is the same thing. It's just that because you have two hydroxyl on two different carbon, you have multiple structure formation, and ultimately, so this is translated into this and this translates into this. Actually speaking, fructose exists even open chain structure into these kind of multiple form, and here you have formation of aldehyde group. You can see that it's basically keto form to aldehyde form on first carbon. So this equilibrium exists, and if this equilibrium, this is an equilibrium, and process is tautomerism again. So more structure formation are possible, and this ultimately lead to the formation of this. So let me tell you, if you have any open chain sugar, on any open chain sugar, whether it is 5-membered, 3-membered, doesn't matter, all those monomers, whether it is aldehyde or it is ketone, they are all capable of reducing these two reagents.